Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our parent coaching series with our fictitious client, Mary Jo Sue. Again, my name is Sarah Salzat, and I'm the owner of the Foster Lane, and I use humor and positivity to help families overcome negative behaviors, replace yelling with laughter, and create a happier home environment. And today we're going to talk about our second attachment session, but really Mary Jo Sue's third session in parent coaching. If you're new to this channel, know that I'm chronicling a fictitious client in her journey through a psychoeducation with the foster lane. In our intake session, we learned a lot about her family and kind of what the struggles are coming in. That's the dumping session. Get it all out, throw it all out on the table, and see where we want to work from, where we want to get to. Then in our sessions after, we take a look at the present day struggles that families are having, and then we combine that with psychoeducation to help increase skills. So in this session, Mary Jo Sue came to the session excited to talk about doing her homework. As a reminder, her homework was to think about how she was showing up in her relationship with her kids, paying attention to when they have needs, how did they respond? How did she respond? When her children have big behaviors, how does she respond? And the realization that Mary Jo Sue had is that she noticed she became agitated when her kids had needs that they could satisfy on their own. She was completely surprised by the observation, and we really talked about it. We discussed about how her children are placing demands on her that they're capable of doing herself, which is leading to frustration and more disconnection. I asked her if she was open to an observation, and she said yes. And I said, I wonder if it's not that they can't do these tasks, but rather they're trying to get connection with you. What would it be like, and what would your experience be if you knew that when they were doing these behaviors, they were just trying to be closer to you? She sat there dumbfounded. What? Were her children not doing manipulative behaviors, but rather these were their connection-seeking behaviors? Maybe. So that's something for her to consider for the upcoming week. And if it is connection behaviors, how can she communicate with them that there are other ways of getting connection? So after that conversation, we jump back into the psychoeducation and talk about her pie chart. And in Mary Jo Sue's pie chart from the Diane Poole Heller website, her secure percentage was under 50%, but it was the biggest percentage for her pie chart. And we talk about how, people get really fixed on, what the individual percentages are. But again, like we talked about in the last video, these are fluid, they change a little bit. And we really are using them for more of a jumping off point. So then again, we were talking about the different attachment styles: secure, avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. And we were talking about how her percentages, play a part. There were many points where I said, your percentage is 30% here. This means you may show up in some relationships in this way. And that opened the door for her to say, yes, that's very much like me, and give examples of, or maybe in some relationships, but not all. That's the beauty of attachment. It's not exactly fixed, but we just get to take a look at it. We also talked about the difference between organized and disorganized attachment. Organized attachment being kind of like a math problem. A plus B equals C. Child has a need. They identify the need. What happens next is predictable. The need is met, the need is dismissed, or it's sometimes met and sometimes not able to be met. Happens over and over and over again and repeats these patterns. Disorganized attachment is chaos. A plus B equals giraffes. What? Who saw that coming? So the child has the need, they indicate that need, and then what comes next is undetermined. Sometimes loving, sometimes scary, sometimes not met. And this conversation always leads to people thinking about when they were a kid and what their relationship with their grown-ups look like. Now, I'm a firm believer of parent coaching is parent coaching, therapy is therapy. And at this point, sometimes things come up that we have a conversation about how great that is to talk about with your mental health provider. Because again, parent coaching goes from today forward. And if we're looking to heal things in the past or resolve past experiences, that's going to be a therapeutic approach. And we definitely refer that out to a mental health provider. But what we do in this case is use that information to inform who she is today and help her get to her ideal future. So as we were talking, she responded about like what it was like when she was a kid, how she had to grow up faster than her peers, and just kind of this strain that she had with her parents, even though she loved them and she felt love and connection. Because of their family experiences, she really had to be a grown up way younger than she felt like she should, and typically what we hope to see. So then I cut right to the quick. I asked her how she sees this play out in her relationship with her children. Is she meeting their needs? Is she sometimes meeting their needs? Is she dismissing their needs because she doesn't agree with them? Or is she showing up in chaotic ways? And we brought this back to that first conversation in the section about her children coming to her with needs, bids for connection, potentially, and her dismissing them. Is that how they're experiencing it? And is that how she's viewing it now? Maybe, maybe not. But this starts our conversation about how we can start showing up differently for our kids. And as a parent who's supporting other parents, I live it. I've been there. And I get that sometimes it's really hard to meet those needs. We don't need to do it 100% of the time, but we do need to repair when we recognize that we mess up. So we'll be checking in on that later. As we're getting low in the session, I just want her to ponder in the coming weeks how her approaches that she's currently using with her family, if they're serving her anymore, why she's choosing to respond the way that she's choosing, and to see if she's interested in doing something differently. Next, we'll talk about the attachment-related diagnoses of a reactive attachment disorder and disinhibited social engagement disorder. But until then, I hope you have a great week. If you're enjoying, like, comment, and share, and I will see you next week.